Well, today I thought we would do a little thinking about God, and you might say, I'd rather not. And you would probably be right. I think most people would prefer not to think really about God if we think about all the way we'd have to accept who He is if we really thought about it. I know atheists, agnostics who don't want much to do with God and uh, ridicule the very belief of the existence of a God. And yet, oftentimes, when I talk with atheists and agnostics, it seems what they most reject is an idea of God that they've picked up from others. And they're really rejecting an idea of a God that doesn't really exist, because oftentimes what's communicated to them by beliefs and practices of others doesn't make a lot of sense in a larger context. But if we go back to the very first word of the Bible, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, that verse might be the most ignored or unappreciated verse in the entire Bible. I think most people have heard it, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, but very few people really sit down and think about what are the implications of a God who is creator. Now, we can go to school or Bible school, seminary, and study theology. Theology is literally a study of God. There's a lot that we could learn in these studies, but here in this very first verse, we have a lot that we can learn. Because if there is a creator, He has to be greater than His creation. And so if we talk about the creation, the world we live in, if this is a creation of God, then God, who is a creator, must be bigger than, in a sense, than what He's created. In other words, meaning that there is nothing in this existence that goes beyond God, because He created all. Now, we have some theological terms you can throw in here. There's omnipresence, which means God is everywhere. Well, it's not like God suddenly decided I'm going to be everywhere. God just is. And in His being as is, He made a creation. So if He created a world, obviously He's everywhere. Otherwise, He couldn't have made everything. You want to talk about omnipotence. The Lord God omnipotent reigns. Well, omnipotence, all powerful. Well, if He made everything that there is, of course He's all powerful. No question about it. And then omniscience, all knowing. If we have a creator God, just by very definition, there's a creator and there's a creation. And what we see and experience in our existence is creation, being created beings. The fact that the one who created knows everything, has all power, and is everywhere should be pretty obvious. Now, the problem is this: how often do we or people really sit down and think about what that means? We talk about believing in God, but do we? Do we really believe He's everywhere? Do we really believe He knows everything? Do we really believe He is all powerful and can do anything He desires? We sometimes treat Him as a lesser God, as though He's not quite able to do the very character and qualities that are taught to us in the very first verse of the Bible. So there's a lot in this very first verse, and if we're going to think about God from time to time, we need to think about God as someone who usually goes beyond what we think about. We'll need to think a little bit bigger. A few more things I'll share with you as we go along from the first verse of Genesis.